There's something so sexy about the Amiga. Here are my top 10 personal hidden gems.
Dreamweb. We're starting with a point-and-click adventure game. Gorgeous in terms of its looks and definitely thrives the most in its AGA format compared to, say, playing on a flatter appearance of the Amiga 500. What's surprising to me is this game got a mammothly different reviews ranging from 24% right up to well over 80% from critics and fans alike. But rest assured, I really enjoy this, and for me Dreamweb is one of those experiences where you need to physically play the game yourself and not become too engrossed in the controversy around the game, because after all it is incredibly violent and it does feature full frontal nudity in parts. So what is the premise for Dreamweb? Well, we play the role of a chap called Ryan, who unfortunately suffers with significant psychotic episodes. So much so that he creates this manifestation of a world known as Dreamweb. There are references to the 7 deadly sins online, which represent the victims of this protagonist Ryan, and like I said, that sounds pretty barbaric, and it is, because Dreamweb is incredibly dark. So I think mentally you have to be in a place to dive into this and actually enjoy it. For me, I do really enjoy it. I think it looks fantastic, and maybe if you don't have an Amiga, you can enjoy Dreamweb on the PC. It might not be for everyone, but it's included in my top 10 hidden gems. Risky Woods is included in my top 10 list because I really enjoy the lure of the Lost Lands. That's right, this is packed full of fantasy and adventure and certainly poses a challenge. For example, levels can flip upside down, which forces you to completely readdress your muscle memory to progress. And I really like that, but that's not the only thing you need to do to progress. You have to collect, or rather free, the good monks from stones, so you actually play a really good kind of protagonist in which we're actually freeing, a little bit like Sonic when he's freeing the little animals, but here we're freeing monks whilst dodging all of these vile creatures. So if fantasy and monsters are your thing and you're a sucker for a gorgeous little platformer, check out Risky Woods on the Amiga. Next up is Fighting Spirit, which takes the vein of a Street Fighter-esque versus brawler with 10 characters to choose from, all with incredibly unique looks and really fast, phenomenal moves to learn. I feel that this is up there and definitely one of those AGA games that animates and delivers, executes, everything about it is done incredibly well. And if you take a look at the gameplay here that I recorded, hopefully you'll see that for yourselves. Now, whilst the frame rates may lack a little bit, we have to remember that this is the Amiga and this is an arcade fighting game, and I think it seems to emulate that arcade vibe incredibly with its, again, jittery frame rates. And I can imagine myself stood in front of an arcade cab back in the day, ploughing 10p pieces into this and willing myself on to win, as I probably would have failed. But nonetheless, frame rate aside, look at the background. Look at everything, it just oozes charm, and I for one am a huge fan, and I couldn't imagine making a top 10 hidden gem list on the Amiga without the classic Fighting Spirit. I'm often asked, Gemma, what is your favourite game ever? And my answer is simple, Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. I have so much burn and nostalgia for that game. Fighting in balloon battle with my friend Matt until the sun set. And I'm thinking, okay, let's bring that experience to the Amiga. And when I discovered Extreme Racing, it took me back to the most amazing fun I had playing kart races, not just with Super Mario Kart, but with the likes of Street Racer as well. Another classic 16-bit, really fun game to play with yourself and with a bit of couch co-op. So this is a great game with a cup mode, a tournament mode, and of course a time trial mode. Your multiplayer includes a versus mode, and it's just wicked. The colour palette for me shines the most. Maybe I'm just a sucker for pretty looking games, but this is one of very few kind of kart games, Super Mario-esque kart games on the Amiga, and it executed pretty darn well. It didn't, however, get the start that it perhaps should have been, and I think that gives me a little bit more passion to bring this to the forefront of your mind as a hidden gem. And that's because Extreme Racing came out in 1995 when the Amiga market was sadly dead. It sold about 5,000 copies according to the good old Wikipedia, but here in 2022 we can enjoy it again. So you've got to check out Extreme Racing if you like your kart racing games. Deliverance is a remake of Deliverance Stormlord 2, but with much heavier and beautiful graphics. A lot's changed here, and it even takes a little bit of a different plot. It looks great. There's no denying the beauty of the pixels as your character shimmers from left to right. I just find it absolutely captivating. And again, I love the whole lure, the monsters, the castles, the secret doors, opening wardrobes to get keys to open those secret doors. I mean, you name it. This really does pack a charm. And I think the developers of this, 21st Century Entertainment, had such a wonderful imagination to bring this to life in a new format. So let's give some praise to Deliverance and our axe-throwing protagonist, as he even attacks these xenomorph-looking things right here. I love this game, and I'm pretty confident that you will love it too. Get yourselves a copy, guys.
We're halfway through. It still blows my mind that Dreamweb had such a large scale of different reviews, ranging from, like I said, 24% well into the 80s. I guess it's down to personal preference ultimately. I know a lot of you guys won't agree with my top 10, but there's still 5 more to go yet.
Tin Toy Adventure is up next, and this is probably the wackiest, zaniest game on the list, and if you could see it, you can pretty much see why. You take the role of this weird clown thing, and you have to collect different coloured stars, and depending on how many different of those stars you collect, you can utilise your power. If you look along the bottom there, you can see the different powers that you have. You can be this kind of tornado, you can do things with your hat, so you have to be really careful whilst dodging enemies, that noting that you have to collect the stars as well. You can see me cycling through the different powers there along the bottom. And again, I think that just adds a level of dynamism that makes this game difficult to ignore. So here we go, there's one of the powers. Look, you can kind of inflate to reach different levels and different platforms, so that's actually super cool. You can set your hat off to attack enemies as well. I mean, that is just fantastic, and I'll be brutally honest with you, it's a shame Tin Toy Adventure didn't come to the Super Nintendo, because I think it would have been fantastic. But this, in its AGA format, is an absolute perler on the Amiga, one in which I'm incredibly fond of, and I'm happy that even the game over screen's a little bit crazy as well. Shout out to everybody in chat who has the name Brian, because Brian the Lion is our protagonist here, and we have to make our way through the levels by either jumping on enemies, clawing enemies, reaching different platforms. I mean, it is a classic recipe for a really nice side-scrolling platform adventure game. And fun fact, I was recently listening to the Retro Hour podcast in which they had one of the developers on this game, and apparently there was supposed to be a Brian the Lion Amiga home computer exclusive. So, you know, we had the Cartoon Classics release, there was going to be a Brian the Lion release. But unfortunately it got cancelled as again the Amiga started to die out. But how cool would that have been to have box art of the full Amiga of Brian the Lion? Stormlord came incredibly early in the Amiga's life cycle, which probably gave it a bit more of a reputation than some of the other games that I featured. whilst the colour palette is a little bit duller than what I tend to prefer. Again, I like the sprites, I like the gameplay, I like the fact that you can utilise this falcon here to transport you to different areas of the level, which also gives you a chance to have a good look at how the level actually pans out, so you can almost plan your journey back. And that's because the falcon won't actually take you back, you have to walk back yourself. Maybe you need to use it to get a key or a different item in order to backtrack and then beat whatever part of the level it is you need to beat. It's quite unique on that front, and I think because of its uniqueness and gorgeous looking pixels, albeit not my typical colour shade, it is cool as hell. Another game that I would have just loved to see more of back in my childhood, because it's one of those games that I've discovered as an adult, and I knew instantly that I was going to thoroughly enjoy it. And I have featured all of these games in previous episodes, but remember guys, this is a definitive top 10 of hidden gems. Maybe you've not heard of this, but I can guarantee you'll have a ton of fun and you can thank me later. But if you've played it, please share some of your experiences in the comments. Welcome to Fire and Ice. It is tricky as this one, but I like the challenge. We have to collect numerous pieces of keys to be able to go through the exit. Every level has a different flair, every enemy has a bit of a different flair, and it is difficult, so brace yourselves for a gorgeous challenge on your Amiga home computers. Where's the scrolling shooters, Gemma? After all, this is the Amiga. Here we go with some classic battle Squadron. The aim of the game is simple. Don't get killed, collect lots of power-ups, and have fun. Fortunately, your basic weapon has unlimited ammunition, which for people like me with very, very slow agility when it comes to video games is fantastic, because I can just simply button mash my way through to what I would believe to be success. But there's maybe veterans here in the audience that are able to complete this game one-handed. I'm certainly not one of them. But you know what? It's included in my list because I thoroughly enjoy it, and I'm not a massive scrolling shooter kind of girl, top down or from left to right. But this has a charm to it. This has a colour palette that speaks to me. This has a great sounding video game experience that also speaks to me. I think it's phenomenal. The power-ups are agile, and just look at it here when you just set off that bomb that just wipes out everything on screen. What's not to like with Battle Squadron? It's number 10 on today's list of my top 10 hidden gems.
And that is my personal top 10 of all of the hidden gems that I have covered in my Mammoth Amiga playlist. That's right, there's a whole heap of episodes related to the Amiga if you are a fellow Amigan like me. Now I have a question for you. First of all, let me know what you think. But second of all, do you think it is worth buying an Amiga 1200 if you own an Amiga CD32? I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below, because I don't have a 1200 and I keep flirting with the idea that I might just add a 1200 alongside my 500, 600 and CD32, and of course the not infamous but famous Amiga 500 Mini, which, let's face it, has reignited many people's passion for the home computer, including mine. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wicked day. In the pinned comments and in the description will be individual episodes that I've done on the Amiga, so go and check more content out. Please subscribe and leave a like, and if you use this hashtag Team24, I'm gonna give you a follow on Twitter and I will retweet the video. If you just retweet this hashtag Team24, I'll follow you back and I'll retweet. Thank you guys, I love you, and I will catch you in the next one.
I need a few seconds of your time to tell you about channel memberships. If you guys want to become a channel member, click join from the main page or the second link in the description. There are 3 tiers, all with different perks for you if you want to become a team member. Thanks for your time. Let's continue with the video.